It's Marcy from Winona Public Library, back with another STEAM activity that you can do at home. Today we're going to be using red cabbage juice to do some chemistry and find the pH or the acidity level of some different substances you have in your house. This works because of a little thing called an anthocyanin that gives the red cabbage juice its color, and that reacts when it's in contact with a base or an acid and then changes the color of the juice. So we're going to be able to tell what's an acid and what's a base based on what color the cabbage juice becomes. Now I've started with this. This is 2 cups of boiling water poured over about a cup of red cabbage, and I just let it sit for a couple hours just to try to let it cool off and let the purple come all the way out. So to get us started, I'm going to pour the cabbage through a strainer so I just have the red juice. Yum, look at that weird purple juice. Okay, you can really tell how all the purple has left the cabbage and turned it kind of green. Now all the purple stuff is in this jar, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, so let's take a moment to inspect the purple cabbage juice. You can see it's a nice deep purple color. In fact, it almost looks black. It's very, very dark, and that's a good thing. What we're going to do is take some of this purple juice and pour it into 5 different glass jars. Now, mine are all different sizes because I didn't have 5 of one, but I'm just going to put a little bit in each jar, and this is going to be our test solution. Okay, so now I've got juice in each of my 5 jars, and I'm going to hang on to a little bit of the plain juice. This will be my control group. In science, we often have a control because then we have something to compare all of our different substances to that we're experimenting with. And now it's time to test our different household substances. So I've got some white vinegar, some dish soap, some baking soda, some salt, and some soda. And we're going to test each of these to see if they're an acid or a base. Now, an acid is going to turn the cabbage juice more red. That's how it's going to react. And then a base, we're going to see the cabbage juice become a little bit bluer, or maybe even a little bit greenish. So that's how we're going to be able to tell what's an acid and what's a base. Okay, so now we're going to put a little bit of each of the test substances into these jars. I've labeled them so I don't forget which jar has which thing in it. And if you don't have these exact things at home, that's totally fine. You can test lemon juice and milk, and there's a bunch of other ideas on the internet, so you can always look up different stuff. But we're just going to put a couple spoonfuls in each one. This part doesn't have to be super scientific because really all we're looking for is that color change. So it doesn't have to be exactly the same amount in each jar. Let's get to it. So I'll put a scoop of that into the baking soda jar. Right like that. And we'll let that kind of sit for a second. Then I'm going to wipe off my spoon with my shirt. And then we're going to do a little bit of salt in the jar on the end. Scoop that. Okay. Next up, I'm going to start with my liquid, so I've got dish soap. Just do a squirt of that. And then we've got some soda pop. A little bit of that. And then the vinegar into this jar. Okay, cool! So the science experiment has already started working. Have you noticed any different colors in these jars? Because I sure have. Okay, so I grabbed a white towel to put behind the jars so you can see the difference a little bit more. On here at the end we have vinegar. This one turned very red. And remember at the beginning I said red means it's an acid. So we know vinegar is very acidic. That's why it's great to use for cleaning. Then we've got the pop here. This is kind of pinkish, so it's more towards the red, so we know pop has a lot of acid, and that's why it's not great for your teeth. Then remember, this is the control group, the one that we didn't do anything to. And that one is more of like a purple color. So these are definitely more red than that. Put this back. Then we've got the soap. And the soap is a little bit more towards the bluish end. So we can conclude that soap may be a little bit basic. It's a little bit of a base. Then we've got baking soda. This one is super fun. The camera's not really getting it, but it's like an aquamarine color. How can I show that? It's green. Like kind of like a teal or turquoise. You can kind of see it there. Yeah, it's like a turquoise green. So we can conclude baking soda is very basic. Then lastly, we have salt. Do you see a lot of difference between this and this? Not really. So salt is actually neutral. I included it in there because I thought it'd be kind of fun to see what a neutral thing does with the red cabbage juice. And that's the experiment. So there you have it. It's a way to test the pH of different substances at home. Many different kinds of scientists use pH in their work, from soil scientists to oceanographers, because pH really does affect the potential for life in soil and oceans and stuff like that. So it's super important. And you can see it makes a cool rainbow too, so why not? All right, I hope you have fun with your own pH and chemistry experiment at home. I will see you later. Bye-bye.